BMWs have historically been known for tire smoking, power sliding fun around the racetrack, for zestful performance and sharp handling characteristics. But what few people realize is that BMW was one of the first entrants in the EV game. Even back in 2011, when the EV space was in its infancy, it was BMW that gave us the i3. Flash forward to 2023 and nearly a whole decade's worth of EV making expertise has culminated in this, BMW's global electric flagship, the iX. The BMW iX forms the first wave of luxury electric SUVs to come to India. And that means it's got to be really, really special. Today, from the looks of it, we seem to have the best of both worlds. A proper, fun-to-drive EV that's apparently from the future. Now, let's start with the looks. BMW calls this the monolith design, and the idea is to convey opulence through minimalism. So every angle, every crevice of the iX is an expression of minimalism and what the future of luxury should look and feel like. The futuristic form of driving pleasure. So, what do I mean by that? Now let's start with this life-size kidney grille. Not needing any air to pass through it has allowed BMW to turn this into a digital canvas of sorts. You get this glossy polyurethane coating on top, which, believe it or not, allows the grille to heal itself. And 24 hours of room temperature air or 15 minutes of hot air causes the grille to repair minor bumps and scratches all on its own, leaving it as good as new. That, however, isn't the only ace up its sleeve, because underneath this surface is a wide array of sensors and cameras that allow it to read the surface ahead. BMW calls this Shy-Tech, which is its way of saying that it's extremely advanced futuristic technology that's hiding in plain sight. What's an ode to neo-futuristic architecture is actually highly advanced tech on the inside. Shy-Tech even includes nozzles to clean the front and rear cameras. And a simple tap of the BMW badge allows you to refill the washer fluid. And Shy-Tech continues to find its way into these glorious interiors. Take this open-pore wood panel that's on this floating central armrest. Now it's proper natural wood, but underneath it is an array of buttons which are touch sensitive and better allow you to control this connected iDrive system. Then there is this natural leather that's running across the dashboard, and it's tanned using olive leaf extracts from olive trees that are pruned and not chopped off all across Europe. Even the floor mats and the headliners use recyclable nylon, which is made of fish nets that have been pulled out of the ocean. In fact, 60 kilograms of this 2.5-ton car are entirely recyclable materials, which can be further recycled when the iX is decommissioned. In fact, the whole cabin is a masterclass in minimalism. Of course, there are bits of understated opulence here, starting with all these crystal bits, including this knob and this bit which allows you to engage drive. You also get crystal segments on the door panel which allow you to adjust seat height and position. But the rest of it is so incredibly concept car-like, including, of course, this hexagonal steering, which is straight out of a concept car, and it's hard to believe that they've put all this into a production car. And then, of course, there's this curved display unit, which actually the iX is the first to introduce to the BMW lineup. You get a 14.9-inch display here and a 12.3-inch instrument cluster here, and collectively, they form the digital motherlode of the iX. And of course, it houses the latest 8th generation iDrive system, giving you access to features like gesture control. Also, with a connected drive, you get what BMW calls the intelligent personal assistant, which accepts natural voice commands. So for example, all I have to say is, "Hey BMW, traffic overview."
At the moment, traffic is moving freely in your area.
Or I can say, "Hey BMW, turn up the temperature.
No problem, it will be warmer shortly.
It even allows you to control the transparency levels of the roof, a roof that's made of the largest single glass panel on a production BMW. BMW iX also features the Digital Key Plus that can be used in the place of a physical key. You can also share your digital key with up to 5 friends and family members and control how much access you would like each person to have to your digital key.
Now the BMW iX has all of the flagship EV aspects covered, but what you probably want to know is that does it drive like a BMW? So let's talk about the basics. The iX gets a 76.6 kilowatt hour battery with a dual motor setup with one electric motor at each axle, collectively putting out 326 horsepower. Now this is by no means a modest amount, but what really surprises you is just the sheer urgency with which this 2.5-ton vehicle takes off, and you don't even really feel the weight. A lot of that, of course, is down to a lot of aluminium and carbon fiber that's there in the overall bodywork, and that makes this car feel a lot lighter and a lot more nimble. What I really like is that there's a sense of occasion to everything. The flat out acceleration, this yoke-like hexagonal steering that kind of reminds me of a larger F1 steering. Everything about it, every little detail, the minimalistic design, everything feels like there's a sense of occasion, a certain festiveness to it. And that just makes the driving experience that much more pleasurable. It's quiet, it's tranquil. It's like a Zen garden in here. Very little of the outside world actually makes its way in.
Yes, it's an EV, so right off the bat, this is a green car. But how green is something you discover once you get into the minutiae. Now, a luxury SUV within this price range normally emits somewhere between 240 grams of carbon dioxide per kilometer. But in the case of the iX, that number comes down to a grand total of 0.
A simple 22 kilowatt wall box charger like the one BMW provides you with the iX can charge the car from 0 to 100 in 8 hours. In addition to that, BMW has a countrywide network of over 52 fast chargers across its dealerships, and that makes it much easier for you to cross long highway journeys. But you aren't here to find out just how much more technologically advanced and sophisticated the iX is when compared to its ICE equivalent. You want to know just how much more convenient it is to own a car like this vis-a-vis an equally luxurious SUV powered by a petrol or a diesel engine. Well, since we're on the subject of numbers, let's do a little bit of number crunching for you. Let's break down the cost economics of owning an EV like the iX.
The BMW iX offers a WLTP certified range of 425 kilometers. Now, taking the per unit cost of charging a battery in Maharashtra, which is 7.25 rupees at the moment, you still get a per kilometer running cost of 1.3 rupees. So, even if you take an upper driving limit of 33 kilometers per day, it still comes down to 43 rupees per day. Now, compare that to the daily running cost of a similarly priced luxury SUV. Taking the fuel average as 14 kilometers per litre, you'd still end up with a per kilometer running cost of 7.5 rupees, which means nearly 245 rupees per journey. And then there's the fact that the maintenance cost of an EV as luxurious as the iX would be half of its petrol or diesel powered equivalent. Add to that the fact that in over 20 states, driving an EV like the iX would exempt you from paying road tax and registration fees. And speaking of battery warranty, something that's of major concern to most EV buyers, BMW actually offers replaceable battery cell modules. So even after 8 years, you don't have to consider a complete battery overhaul and pay a third of the car's cost. You can just selectively change battery cell modules and keep on going. The BMW iX is so firmly rooted in the future, it's hardly likely to age.